Hi, and welcome everyone. I'm not sure if we have anyone joining us already, but we'll maybe just recap on what we spoke about in our first Financial Friday, which was last month. I can't believe a month has flown by already. I hope everyone is excited to be here and looking forward to the weekend. This is our second session in our Financial Fridays. And just to confirm what we spoke about, and I think the starting point for me for any financial conversation with any coaching conversation that I have with a client is to identify what their vision for the future looks like or what their financial goals look like. And I think, again, a lot of people don't really sit down and actually truly think about what these goals are, because a lot of us were not taught how to have these visions or to come up with goals. Financial education is not something that is taught in schools. A lot of our parents also may not have had the resources available to be able to have the conversations with us in an empowering manner. So I'm hoping that these Financial Friday sessions is going to add value to you and to help you to identify what your financial goals are and put actions in place to help you to achieve that. So today's topic is, basically we're going to look at how do we now start to put an action plan in place that speaks specifically to the goals that you identified. And again, I hope that you had the opportunity after our last discussion to actually sit down and identify what those goals are. There's a quote that says, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." And again, crystallizing your goals for whether it's for money or for any aspect of your life is extremely important. There's something about writing your goals down with a pen on a piece of paper that actually starts to almost like become a reality. It's the first step in it becoming a reality. Otherwise, it is just a wish. So it is important to crystallize those goals by identifying them and writing them down. And the next step, as I said, is to then figure out the actions that you need to take in order to help you to achieve those goals. Remember, again, another expression or statement or quote that I've come across is, a dream written down without a date. Oh, sorry, a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. And a plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. So again, I think the time is now to stop making excuses, for us to stop playing the victim, for us to stop saying that we don't have time or that we'll save for when we do have money, or try and set those goals for at a later stage. The time is now to actually start doing that. So if you have not yet identified or written down your goals for the year, or even for the next 5 years or 2 years, whatever that time frame has been or is that you've identified, then the chances that you are not going to progress is going to be quite high. So I think that is extremely important. That is the first step to anything. And if you're unhappy with your financial progress, then you need to take different actions. And that begins with you making different decisions. So if you've not yet identified your money goals, then please today just identify one goal. Let's just start with just one goal. And that could be something that you want to achieve maybe by the end of 2022. Next, we're going to brainstorm some ideas that will help you to achieve that goal. And I'm going to use an example to actually illustrate how this can be done. So let's assume that your goal is to spend Christmas in another province or another city or even in another country with your family. When you think about whatever that goal is, so in this case, we're going to say that this is your holiday that you're planning. Take a few minutes to actually visualize the details of what this is going to look like. Because now is when you start to build on that goal and make it even more closer to your heart. Visualization is a very important part of goal setting. It's easy to create a goal and then just, some of us will forget about it. But if you start a process of visualizing what that goal is going to look like, it helps you to stay focused to actually trying to achieve that goal. So, when it comes to visualization, it's not something, again, that happens just once off. Spend a few minutes almost every day. The minute you wake up, when you're lying in bed for that first few 5 minutes, or even before you go to sleep, try and visualize what that goal looks like, what it feels like. Picture it in your mind. There's something about the subconscious. When your goals are deeply entrenched in your subconscious, your brain actually, your brain actually starts to find ways to actually make that become a reality. So visualizing is an important part of manifesting your dreams and making sure that it becomes a reality. You might also want to use other tools like a journal where you can write down the details of your goal, keeping a vision board. Again, I think we did speak about some of these things in our first session. So now I want to look at really truly understanding or unpacking the details of what that goal is going to look like. And again, use this as an example to really try and figure out the meat behind your goal. So if we're looking at a holiday at the end of the year, think about things like who's going to join you on that holiday. You might want to write down their names. Maybe there's children that are going to accompany you. So write down their names, their ages. Think about the details in terms of when are you planning on going? What are the actual dates? Circle it on your calendar. Put it in your diary. How many nights are you planning to stay for that specific holiday? Are you going to stay in a holiday home, or do you want to stay in a hotel, or perhaps an Airbnb? How many rooms are you going to require? So if you're going there with your family and maybe it's a family of four, do you need 2 bedrooms? So all those kind of details. How are you going to get there? Are you going to fly? Are you going to drive? If you are flying, is there a specific airline that you prefer? Because obviously, all of these play a role in terms of the costs of your goal. If you're driving, how long is it going to take you to get there? Are you going to stop over somewhere? So do you need to book into another hotel? Are you going to, how many tanks of petrol might you need? Again, petrol is an expensive, especially in South Africa, it's extremely expensive. So you want to make sure that you're taking into consideration all of these unforeseen costs. What do you estimate your total holiday budget to be? Do you have some idea in terms of what it is you're wanting to spend during that period of time? Are there any other specific activities or tours that you want to participate in? If you're going on a beach holiday, maybe you want to go snorkeling, or you want to visit a spa, or go on a yacht cruise. If you're going, to a golf estate, are you planning on playing golf? So, all the details that you're going to be, or whatever it is you're going to be doing on that specific holiday needs to be taken into consideration. And then, is there anything additional that you need to buy to be able to go on that holiday? So maybe there's specific clothes or attire that you need. If you're going on a beach holiday, you might need new swimwear or sunscreen. So think about, again, it's all the details, the extra costs that haven't been planned and included in that specific goal, because we want your goal to become a reality. If you're staying at a self-catering apartment whilst you're on holiday, do you have a separate budget for groceries, or are you going to be eating out? And on average, what amounts are you planning on spending? Are there any minor children that's going to be on holiday with you that you might need to give a holiday allowance to? And if you're going over a festive season, are you going to be spending Christmas, as an example, at a restaurant or at a hotel or even at your holiday apartment? And what additional costs do you think is going to be included? So this is not an exhaustive list, but it is the kind of questions that you need to be asking in order to be able to plan that holiday goal. And once you've identified what those details are, you can then start putting a cost to each expense. And let's say we estimate that the total cost of your holiday is, and I'm going to use the South African currency, which is rands. And I know there are a lot of people based all over the world, based globally, that have dialed in. But if we say that the total cost of your holiday is going to be 30,000, excuse me, the next step is to figure out what needs to be done in order to save up that amount. So if you're going in December, you might need to identify timelines as to when you need to book your travel, when you need to book your accommodation. And obviously, the earlier you book, the more you might be able to save. But you also need to be realistic and make sure that you've actually got those amounts available to you at those specific timelines. So timelines are extremely important to help you to achieve your goal. So once you've calculated that monthly amount that you need to save, and let's say, hypothetically speaking, that's 3,000 Rand over the next 10 months, you have to decide if that is going to be a manageable amount. Okay. If it's not manageable, then the next thing you need to ask yourself is a whole lot other questions. So one of the things you need to ask yourself is, can you afford to put aside the 3,000 Rand or whatever amount it is that you have decided to save? And is that going to be realistic? If you are able to save it, where are you going to put that money? What are the processes that you're going to put in place to make sure that you do not spend that money or tap into that money because that's your holiday goal? That's towards your holiday goal. If you can't afford to save the amount that you've identified that you're going to need, what changes are you able to make to your budget to allow you to save the extra or the difference? So maybe you have to go on a financial diet, or maybe you need to cut out certain other expenses. So you need to then really go and look at your budget to say, okay, this is where I'm willing to actually make the sacrifices in order to be able to go on that holiday. Or maybe there's a side hustle that you can start to fund your holiday dreams. And I think another important question is that all of this that I'm saying is actually easy to apply in theory, but in practice, it is quite difficult. So another question that you need to be asking yourself is, are you going to be disciplined enough to follow through? One of the things you want to avoid doing is using your credit card to fund your holiday, because the holiday you envision costs, the planned cost is 30,000. If you're using your credit card, you could end up, or you will definitely end up spending more, or it costing you more than 30,000 to go on that holiday. You also need to think about if there's any other trade-offs that you'll be required to make in lieu of your holiday. So example, you might use your credit card to pay for school fees in January when you come back from your holiday. And again, you don't want to be doing that. If you cannot afford to save the 3,000 Rand each month, or all of the other questions that I've posed to you doesn't work for you, then there is one other thing that you can do, and that is make changes to the cost of your holiday. And again, those are things like, can you delay your holiday? Could you maybe stay at a cheaper hotel? Are there any other expenses that you can look at cutting out to be able to still go on holiday and still have fun? And maybe again, getting other family members on board to help you make this holiday a reality. So if you've got kids and you really want to go on this holiday, get them on board to figure out ways that you can actually save money. So instead of going out to the movies, maybe have a movie night at home. That money can be used towards your holiday. So, and I think, these type of questions are important because a lot of people, and I'll tell you this because I've worked in this industry for such a long time. When you say for retirement, as an example, a lot of people will look at how much they can afford to save. And so when they speak to an advisor, they will say, okay, I can afford to spend, say, 5,000 Rand as an example towards my retirement. What happens when they get to retirement is that they have this lump sum amount that then determines what lifestyle they get to live. Now the conversations are actually very different. And that's why I shared with you these type of questions, because it actually helps you to plan your other financial goals that you will have. The conversations nowadays are very different in the sense that the questions are based around the type of retirement that you want to live. What are you going to be doing with your time? If you're a golfer, how many times a week are you going to be playing golf? Do you need a new car every 5 years? What other expenses do you need to be including in your retirement vision? Where will you be living? What will you be doing? All of these questions are, once you have an idea of what that looks like, we then monetize what those goals are going to cost you. And so upfront, before you retire, you already know what type of retirement you are going to live. Not when you get to retirement. When at that point it's obviously too late, because you're bound by the amount of money that you've actually saved up for your retirement. And that's why these questions, as simple as it might seem to you right now, is actually extremely important to make sure that you've identified the details, even the minor details of your goal, so that you've planned for this upfront and that there's no surprises in the future. So these questions are going to help you to make your dream a reality, and it will enable you to stay focused to your goal. You will also be better prepared for any challenges that might arise. So again, create a holiday vision board. Place it somewhere on your wall where it reminds you and your family about your goal. You can even have, mini milestones that you each month. You can have a chart with the mini milestones and shows the different targets that you've saved up for. And once you get to that, you can maybe have a little celebration at home with your kids. So, and again, this builds up excitement and gets everybody on board in the family to help reach those goals. So, yeah, I hope that that you were able to get some value out of this. Again, I want you to remember that regardless of the type of goal you have, with the right action and the appropriate effort, you will be able to achieve your goals. If there are any challenges along the way, try to preempt them so that you know upfront how to deal with them. And if for some reason you don't reach your goal in time, don't be disappointed. We know that life doesn't always happen the way that we plan. You can always move the goalpost to a more suitable time frame. Remember, saving is never a wasted attempt. I always say that about even studying. Even if you don't end up studying or practicing what you study, it's never a wasted attempt, because you still gain some knowledge out of that experience. The money can always be used towards paying off a debt, or towards a future goal. So again, I hope you found the session valuable and that you're able to use some of these questions to help you to plan your action plan so that you can achieve your long-term and short-term financial goals. Until next month, I don't see any questions or comments, but if you have any, please feel free to post them. And if we don't get any today, then we'll try and answer them at a later point. Awesome. I wish everybody has a great weekend, and I will see you again at the end of next month. Bye.